Namaskar, everybody, and best wishes to all of you on the auspicious occasion of Sri Narasimha Jayanti today. Yasya bhavat bhakta janarti hantu pitrutvamanye swavicharya turnam stambhe vatarastamanya labhyam lakshmi nrisimham sharanam prapadye Srimate Sri Lakshmi Nrisimha Parabrahmane Namaha. So with prayers at the lotus feet of Sri Lakshmi Narasimha, let us see what we can learn today. Today, on the day of Narasimha Jayanti, let us learn about some deeper aspects of this Narasimha Avatara. Now, most of us, we already know the basic story of Narasimha Avatara, and we know that it is important for us because not only we are learning about the greatness of Lord Narasimha in that Avatara, but we are also learning about the importance of bhakti, the way Prahlada showed it to us. So, today we will delve a little deeper into some of the aspects which are not so commonly noticed or we don't pay attention to it. If we look at this Narasimha Avatara, it was an avatara which was like a bridge between the animal forms and the human form. Now we know that Narasimha means Nara and Simha. So it's a combination of the lion form, which is the Simha part, and a human form, Narasimha. So Narasimha Avatara came after Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha Avataras. And it was before the Vamana, Parshurama, Rama, Krishna Avataras. So, in that sense, we can say Matsya, Kurma, Varaha Avataras were the purely animal forms in which the Lord incarnated. The Vamana, Parshurama, Rama, Krishna Avataras were the human forms in which Lord incarnated. So, when Lord came in the form as Narasimha, this was a combination of the animal form, the lion part, and the human form, the Nara part. So, in that sense, we say that Narasimha is like a bridge between the animal forms and the human forms. And in fact, there are many acharyas who also say that just like if somebody has just plain milk, it will be good, no doubt, but it will not be very tasty. If somebody has just sugar, they can eat a little bit of only sugar, but then not too much of it either. But suppose somebody has a glass of milk in which they have mixed in some sugar and they drink that, then that is going to be the perfect blend and the most tasty version of that food. So, similarly, rather than just the animal avatars of the Lord or just the human avatars of the Lord, this Narasimha, where there is a unique blend of the animal and human components, this is the most tastiest avatara. That is how some acharyas say this with a lot of rasa in it. Now, we know that so another thing that we don't usually talk much about is when Lord decided to incarnate in this form as Narasimha, why did he wanted some animal form, right? Why did he choose to come as a lion and not any other animal? So here some Vyakyatas, they give the interpretation. I am not sure if this is told from the Alvar's compositions or where exactly, but I have heard it often being told that at the time, now we know all the set of events that happened, right? We know that Hiranyakashipu was very angry with Prahlada because Prahlada kept on praying to Narayana. And how much ever his teachers tried to teach him otherwise, he would always chant the name of Narayana. Then we know that, in fact, he started teaching the other children, the other Rakshasa children in the Gurukula, about how to chant the name of Narayana. So, after trying all attempts to kill him, and none of those succeeded, Hiranyakashipu was very angry. And therefore, he said that now something has to be done. And he was determined to put an end to this whole problem. So, when finally, again, the last time he asked Prahlada, he says, who gave you the courage to talk all these things? How can you dare to say Narayana, Narayana in front of me when I'm told so many times that Narayana is my enemy? How can you have the courage to say that to me? So Prahlada says to him that not only I am having the power to say this because of Narayana, but whatever you are saying, that is also because Narayana is there within you and he is only making you say all these things. At that time, Hiranyakashipu reached the peak of his anger and he was in such a rage that he threatened Prahlada. He says, is it true that Narayana is there everywhere? Where is it? Why? How can you say that? So Prahlada says, he is in me, he is in you, he is everywhere. At that time, Hiranyakashipu, we know, pointed to one pillar, to one stamba, and he says, is your Narayana here? Prahlada says, yes, I can see Narayana. I see Narayana in this pillar. And at that time, in that rage, Hiranyakashipu actually takes a very bad vow. He tells Prahlada that if your words prove false, I'm going to break this pillar now. And if your Narayana does not come out of this, then I will tear you apart. I will kill you. Just like a lion fights with its prey and totally tears up that prey's body and eats it up. I will do that to you, just like a lion does to its prey. This is how he said. So it is told by the Vyakyatas that the Lord, now he knew that this is the time he has to incarnate. He has to protect his Bhakta Prahlada. So he was ready to do the incarnation. Until that moment, he had not decided in what form he will come. Until that moment, he had not thought of what form exactly to take. But the minute Hiranyakashipu says this, the Lord decided that, oh, you are using this lion's form to threaten and to scare my bhakta, then I will take that very form. I will use that very thing, what you are telling to scare him. I will use that same concept and I will make sure that you are destroyed because of that. And that is why he chose specifically this Simha form for the Narasimha Avatara. Next, we also know that what happened next. Now, Hiranyakashipu made the threat. Prahlada said, yes, Narayana is here. At the very next moment, Hiranyakashipu smashed that pillar, smashed the stamba with his gada. And at that very moment, the pillar just broke into fragments and out of that came Narasimha. So Acharyas explain here that the speciality of this avatara is that he was the one who came most quickly. He was the fastest responding avatara. We've seen with all the other avatars that there is time. They appear. Then, like in the form of taking birth, the Lord appears. Then there is a time for growth. Then there is a time for him to take action, isn't it? Whether it is the Matsya Avatara or it is Kurma, Vara, whatever it may be, there is a point when the Avatara appears, then there is some development which takes place, and later the action happens after some time gap. But here it was instantaneous manifestation. Immediately, as soon as what was the trigger? The trigger was Hiranyakashipu threatening Prahlada and smashing the pillar. Instantaneously, at that very moment, Narasimha appeared in his Ugra form. He appeared in that full-fledged avatara form. There was no time gap at all for him to appear and for him to change and grow into something else and to take action. It was that as soon as the pillar was smashed, he appeared there, and therefore he is the one who is fastest to respond to the deity, to the bhaktas, the devotees' call. That is the speciality of Narasimha. Now, another aspect we need to note here is that when Hiranyakashipu threatened Prahlada and asked him all these questions, Prahlada knew, he could make out that his father is very angry. Prahlada already knew that his father was out to kill him because so many attempts had been made on his life. He had been given poison, he had been thrown from the cliff, they had tried to drown him into the ocean, they had tried to trample him with an elephant, they had tried to set him on fire, and none of that had worked. So now Prahlada knew very well that his father is out to get him, and yet he was completely calmed. He never for a moment got agitated. Now, we need to also notice one more thing here that he did not openly and very clearly pray to Lord and say, come and save me. Normally, we expect that if the bhakta is there and he is in trouble, what is the nature of the bhakta? That he is having complete belief in God, no doubt, and that at that moment of danger, he prays to the Lord and says, please come and save me. But in this instance, Prahlada did not openly, explicitly pray that come and save me. He only said, I can see Narayana in this pillar. And that Mahavishwasa which Prahlada had, that is what the Lord responds to. So it is another aspect of bhakti that we need to learn from Prahlada, that if we have this strong belief, if we have the firm conviction that Lord is there everywhere and He is there for me, then I don't need to pray and ask the Lord that please save me, please help me. The minute I am in need, he will instantly come, just like Narasimha instantly came, immediately manifested from the Stambha. Like that, the Lord will come. We don't need to pray to him saying, come and save me. He is sitting within us. He knows very well what are our needs. So if we have that Mahavishwasa, he will definitely respond instantly, just like Narasimha did. Now, further, we know about these boons that Hiranyakashipu had asked. He had done a lot of tapas and taken the boons from Brahma. And the boon was that he actually asked to become immortal. He said, I should not die at all. Brahma told him that is not possible. Anybody who is created by me will always have an end. So I can't give you a boon like that. So then, thinking he was very clever, Hiranyakashipu made a boon, asked for a boon in such a way that he thought he had covered all the points, and it was such that definitely nobody would ever be able to kill him. So we know these aspects. He said, I should not be killed by a human being or any animal. In fact, he said, I should not be killed by anything which is created by Brahma. I should not be killed inside the house nor outside the house. I should not be killed during the day or during the night. I should not be killed by a weapon or any other means. I should not be killed in the sky or on the earth. And so he thought he was being very smart by doing this. But if Hiranyakashipu, being a demon, can be so smart, then definitely the Lord can be smarter than him. And that is exactly what Narasimha proved. His genius was such that he didn't break the conditions of the boon, but he went beyond those conditions in a very creative manner. Now, Hiranyakashipu said, not human being, not animal. So he took a unique form which had never ever been seen before by combining the human and lion form. Hiranyakashipu didn't want to be killed outside or inside the house. So Narasimha took him to the threshold, the doorstep, which is considered as a middle area. It is not inside the house, it is not outside the house. So he took him there and killed him. At what time did all this happen? At the Sandhya time, at the time of dusk or twilight, when it was neither day nor night. Now, Hiranyakashipu had said he should not be killed by anybody who was created by Brahma. Who is Narasimha? He is an avatar of Narayana. And who is Narayana? Narayana is the one who has created Brahma. So even that condition was met. He should not be killed in the land or in the sky, said Hiranyakashipu. So what did the Lord do? He placed Hiranyakashipu on his lap and he killed him. And most importantly, it is told that whatever ayudha, whatever weapon the Lord uses to kill anybody, to do samhara of anyone, it is always an amsha of the Sudarshan Chakra. So in this case, the Sudarshan Chakra took this unique form. What was the weapon that the Lord used? The Simha form had the claws in its hands. So those claws are what he used to tear apart Hiranyakashipu. So the unique feature of this nails is that they can be considered living also. They are not living nor they are non-living. How do we say that? The fact is that if the nail is kept just like that, it will grow. So as it grows, it indicates that it is not non-living. It has some life in it. But if you cut it, it does not hurt you. So that indicates that it is not able to feel anything. So it is, you can't say that it is living or non-living. You can't say it is not non-living, not living. So like this, this was the unique weapon that the Lord used to bypass the conditions of Hiranyakashipu's boon. This is what Acharyas refer to as the Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam. That the greatness of this Narasimha is Aghatita, means that which cannot happen. You must have heard this word Ghatane. Ghatane means something which happens, some event. So Aghatita means that which does not happen, that which is not possible. Ghatana means to make it happen, and Samarthyam means capability. So, if we say Narasimha has the uniqueness that he is capable of this, what is it? He has Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam, the divine ability to make what is impossible possible. That is exactly what he has shown throughout this avatara of his. The main thing he did was Brahma's boon, which was given to Hiranyakashipu, was so airtight. But at the same time, he had to keep the word given to Prahlada. Now, these are two things which are contradictory, but he managed to balance both of them together. That he was able to take two opposite ends, two contradictory things, but make them balance out together. So, what seemed impossible to kill Hiranyakashipu using Brahma's boon, that impossible he made possible to fulfill the word of Prahlada. So, he made sure Brahma's boon's conditions were not nullified. Prahlada's word was also not broken. Both were taken care of. In a logical way, if we think, it is not possible for anybody to make sure that both these contradictory things are matched. But the Lord made sure that both happened. This is one of the things about the Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam. Secondly, if we see the aspect of the Lord, you must have all heard this famous shloka. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrisimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityum Namamyaham, where we say that he is having Ugra form, he is having Veera form, but he's so because of that Ugra form, he is Bhishana, he's terrifying, it is scary to look at him, and yet he is Bhadram, he is auspicious, he is Mangalamaya. And what is he? He is Mrityum. He is the death for death itself. So here again the same concept of Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam. Somebody can be either Ugra at a time or Saumya at a time. They can be both. But Lord showed us in this avatara that it is possible to combine both these components. How did he show that? The first thing we say, the Ugra form. He took the Ugra form, he was fierce, and he ripped apart the stomach of Hiranyakashipu and killed him. And yet, when that same hand was placed very lovingly on the head of Prahlada, he was gentle enough to comfort that child. So he has a Bhishana form, but he is also Bhadra in that form. He is terrifying to look at, but he is also auspicious because he destroyed evil and protected the devotee. From his point of view, if you look at the emotional stage through which Narasimha moved, he was angry on Hiranyakashipu and he killed him with all that power. At the same time, instantaneously, quickly, when Prahlada came and stood in front of him, he was so gentle to comfort and bless that child. So, this ability to move from that fierce aspect to the Karunamayi, compassionate aspect, that also is an example of the Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam. And the ultimate thing which is impossible, what we have hope from this is that all of us, we want that the Lord should bless us. We are hoping that He will give moksha to us. We are hoping that something will happen in our life. Now, if we look at ourselves, we totally have no qualification at all to get moksha. We are incapable in every way. we have so much Rajotamo Guna. We have so less Sattva Guna. We are full of our karma. We have so much Papa Punya accumulated. We have more of Papa than Punya. And we have so many Vasanas. We are constantly being pulled by our senses towards enjoyment in this world. There are so many wrong things that we do. There are so many mistakes that we make. There are so many times when we hurt other people, knowingly, unknowingly, in every possible way. And so if we ponder over ourselves, actually, we will realize that it is just not possible for me to ever get moksha. What hope do I have of getting moksha? But because Narasimha has the Aghatita Ghatana Samarthya, something which is totally impossible, he is capable to make it possible because of his Karuna. So we must not lose hope. We will get moksha, not because of something which we are doing or what we have. It is not our eligibility, it is not our qualification, it is not our actions that are going to make us get the moksha, but it is the grace of the God. It is Narasimha's grace by which we will be able to get moksha and reach to Sri Vaikuntha. So this is the ultimate impossible. In case of Hiranyakashipu, it was impossible for anybody to match the conditions of the boon which he had taken from Brahma and destroy him. Lord did that. But even more impossible is the fact that we are all so full of our problems. We are so full of negative attributes. We are so full of papa. We are not doing anything great. We are so full of rajotama guna. And yet, the Lord will ensure that we get moksha. For that, we need His grace. So, does it mean that we simply sit quietly and do nothing and say that, okay, Lord is going to be graceful on me and He will give me moksha? Definitely not. When He will give us moksha, when He will have kripa on us, if we do something at least, because of our swabhava, because of our karma, because of our vasanas, we are constantly being pulled in the wrong direction. But if we take some efforts to try and do what is right, to try and do sadhana, to try and constantly do smaranam, kirtanam, Vishnu, just like Prahlada told, if we keep trying to do all these things, if we keep trying to remember the Lord, if we keep trying to surrender to Him, no matter how much we are pulled in the other direction, we should keep doing whatever we can to surrender to the Lord and to pray to Him constantly. Then He will be activated. Then He will be motivated to show His grace on us. And that is what we have to pray for. When we think of our papas and our problems, and whatever our total inability to do anything, we feel that definitely Lord will not protect us. But Lord Narasimha is so compassionate that He is always there waiting for us. The Lord doesn't have to come somewhere, He is just waiting. We are the ones who are running away from Him and we refuse to see His presence. If we are able to accept and surrender to Him, then He is already there. He is just waiting for us to turn towards Him and He will definitely reveal Himself to us. So let us pray to this Lord, because if He is the one, He is the only one who can protect us, then we are safe because we are turning to Him. And if He decides that He will not protect us, there is no other person also to protect us in this world. So let us remember at all times that He is our only protector, and that prayer should be there in our mind, and we should constantly pray to Him saying, you only have to protect me. In the Kamasikashtakam, Swami Deshikan, in this very famous shloka says, Tvai rakshati rakshakaihi kimanyaihi, Tvai cha arakshati rakshakaihi kimanyaihi. O Lord Narasimha, if you protect me, what is the need for me to search anybody else as a protector? And if you have made up your mind that you are not going to protect me, you are the greatest of all the lords, what can anybody else do? What any other devata will do to protect me? You are the only one who can protect me. So this is the shloka which tells us that we need to do sharanagati to the Lord. We need to surrender to the feet of the Lord. And He is there constantly to take care of us. So to be able to get this bhava and to do these things also, we need the special grace of the Lord. So today on this auspicious day of Narasimha Jayanti, we have talked about so many aspects. But what is the key takeaway that we have to have in our mind? That the Lord is just waiting at all times. Like he was there in the pillar, and at that particular time, he only manifested and came out. The Lord is there everywhere, all around us, within us. All we need to do is recognize that he is there and turn to him and surrender to him. He will definitely protect us and take care of us. Let us not worry about our papa karmas, about our doshas, our inabilities. Because he is Karunamayi, because he has Agatita Gatana Samarthyam, he will definitely come and do what is impossible. He will grant moksha to all of us if we make some efforts to turn towards him. So, this is what was the message that I wish to convey. By the Lord's grace, I was able to make the presentation, and at short notice. I'm sorry, I could have, if I had planned it a little more before, maybe it would have been possible to for you to join properly. But anyway, I have tried to do the best that I could. Because it is Narsimha Jayanti, puja is going on in my house also. I have to go back there and help my husband with that. So anyway, we have seen all these aspects today. So to quickly recap, we said that Narsimha is the bridge between the animal avatars and the human avatars. Then we said that he took the lion form because Hiranyakashipu threatened Prahlada that if Narayana is not there in the Stamba, I will become like a lion and tear you apart as if you are my prey. So Lord wanted to take that very form to destroy Hiranyakashipu, who dared to threaten the Bhakta of the Lord. He was the fastest avatara because instantaneously he manifested. The great power that Prahlada had was Mahavishwasa. He did not pray to the Lord saying, come and save me. He didn't think that he should tell the Lord what to do. He just was constantly aware that Lord is there. And that trust, that Mahavishwasa, the Lord responded to immediately. We know all the conditions of the airtight boon which Hiranyakashipu had asked. The Lord transcended and went beyond all those things to ultimately take this unique form and kill Hiranyakashipu, bypassing all the conditions of the boon. So this is what we call Aghatita Gatana Samarthya, the divine ability to make the impossible possible. And he reconciled two extremities. The boon of Brahma and Prahlada's word could not go together, but the Lord balanced it perfectly. The Ugra and Saumya form can never be together, but the Lord has balanced it perfectly. He was fierce enough to kill Hiranyakashipu, and the very next moment he was gentle enough to comfort Prahlada. And that is why for us also, he will do the ultimate impossible. We are so full of papa karmas and doshas, and yet he will make sure that if we surrender to him, he will grant us moksha. So let us pray that Lord will bless us with the good sense, the sadbuddhi, to do some sadhana, in a consistent way, so that he is able to grace and bless us. Thank you everybody for attending at such a short notice. Next week, we will continue as usual with our Gita Satsang. Namaskar. Is there anything that anybody wants to say about today's Satsang? Okay. Then in that case, we will stop for now. Thank you very much.